Right now I have two steaks. I got them pretty well thawed out in the refrigerator before getting started. And the reason I wanted to talk about this video is some of these more inexpensive steaks, like top loin for instance, where they have a really thick, heavy fat cap on them. This is basically what I'm talking about here, is trying to make that fat cap more edible for most people. Now that I've gotten into the air fryer world, and I'm cooking the majority of almost all my steaks every day when I get home in the air fryer, I like to figure out how to make these steaks come out perfect every single time. Also, something else I wanted to do in today's video is talk about a couple different types of salts that I'm using. I'm using Redmonds garlic salt. I'm going to be using that on one of the steaks. And the other steak, I'm going to be using Redmonds real smoked salt, which is something I've ordered on Amazon. And these things will be put down in the description section with affiliate links if you're interested in any of these products that I'm showing you here today. Also in my air fryer, my new air fryer, I really like this one because it's a space-saving air fryer, and it's called the Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer. It's got two separate zones to do cooking, and today is also going to be an experiment to see just how these steaks are going to turn out using this feature, because I haven't yet to have gotten the perfect steaks using dual zones. I've normally coming home making steaks for myself and cooking in just the top zone alone, which is zone 1. And I like to cook my steaks at 400 degrees. And if it's just one single steak, I'm only cooking it for anywhere from 16 to 17 minutes. And it gives me a really good crust. But right now I'm just getting the cutting board set up, getting my steaks thoroughly dried off. This is a super important step if you want to get a decent crust. So you just tap it dry, wipe off all the excess you can get off there. And I like to have one hand in a glove. That way I can touch the steak mainly with that one hand, and the other hand I can just kind of keep it somewhat clean so I can do things with my other hand. Now I am using my wife's one of my wife's skinning knives, mainly because it's a brand new knife. It's very unique. It's lightweight, really versatile in the hand. And what I'm getting ready to do now is I'm going to make these little tiny cuts all the way up through the fat cap. And what this does here is it makes all of the fat, when it cooks in the air fryer, edible. So basically all the salt that we get ready to put on with the seasoning is all going to start to work its way down into those cracks, and it's going to make all of that fat cap just super edible. Now you don't have to cut super close together. I think I cut a little bit too close going around this one here. But this technique works really well just to make sure that fat is super edible and it's crunchy. I like the crunchiness of the fat when it's cooked in the air fryer. So just work your way around and just do as many slices as you feel you need. And this is always an experiment. Every time I cook anything in the kitchen, it's an experiment because I never know exactly how it's going to turn out. But as you can see here, it just makes some nice little voids for the sauce to go in. And you're not cutting down into the meat. That's another important thing, because if you cut down into the meat, you're going to wind up losing all those natural juices that the meat provides. And we don't want to do that. Now, for most people, steak is unaffordable. So in a lot of cases, people at least say that. But if you go out to Costco and you buy the bulk pieces of meat, even this top loin was relatively affordable at about $9 a pound. Ribeye steak just went up in price. So that is kind of something that breaks my heart a little bit, because I was eating ribeye steak for one meal a day for right around $15 to anywhere from $15 to $18 a day, realistically. So I also like to mix and match my steaks once in a while. But the ribeye steak itself just contains everything that you need. It's got the perfect amount of fat, perfect amount of connective tissue. Everything's right there. Top loin is my second choice. It is a little bit more meaty of a steak. Redmonds garlic salt is the salt that I like to use the most. And it tends to work really, really well. I have never once over-salted one of my steaks. It looks like I'm just drowning this steak in salt. And so far, I've never experienced too much salt on a steak. So I just pat it all in there, get it nice and even, kind of rub it around, just like you're doing a barbecue rub. And then you just flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And if you have any excess moisture on the top, just kind of tamp it off. And the most moisture you get off of these steaks, the better crust you're going to have. I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, you can just randomly put it in the air fryer and have a really good steak come out even without drying it. I've done it both ways. I do prefer to dry it off a little bit before I get started. And it's just one of those things. It depends on really what you want to do and how you want this to turn out. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Steak's just amazing as long as you don't overcook it, in my opinion. Now, the next salt I'm going to be putting on is this Redmonds Real Salt, smoked salt. And this is something I did purchase on Amazon just recently, and I wanted to give it a try. It just sounded amazing. Now, it doesn't really give you that smoky feeling, kind of like you just cook something on a charcoal grill with some mesquite type chips. It doesn't do that at all. It does have a little bit of smoky flavor, but it doesn't give you that smoky overtone you get in your nasal passages when you kind of like breathe out of your nose. I haven't really experienced that, but there is a little bit of a smoky flavor to this salt. It's kind of coarse, and I did order a couple salt shakers. I was hoping they were going to be here for this video because I wanted to show off these new salt shakers that I'm getting for all my random salts and spices and stuff that I've been using lately. But just like the other steak, we're just going to dry off the bottom and flip it over and put some more salt on the other side. And then we're going to head on over to the air fryer shortly after that. Now, I was today years old when I figured out that you don't need this bottom plate if you're using the metal grates that come in your product. I mean, I've been washing these metal plates over and over again, and I haven't needed them. They sit in the bottom of the basket, and I don't need them. The only reason there's two in this basket this time is because I've just been using the bottom basket to store the other one. But yeah, we totally don't need those little racks. I mean, we just put in the metal rack there, which is stainless steel. The meat never touches the Teflon coating, so there's no risk of contamination that way. That's one thing I love about this product here, is it just simply works. So we're just going to lay the steaks on in there, and then we're going to get the air fryer set up and go from there. All right, setting up an air fryer, especially on Ninja products, they like to keep the programming the same, which is really nice. So I got this little button down here at the very bottom. It's for match cook. So both zones cook at the same time, top and bottom. So when I get the temperature set up to air fry, and I'm going to increase the temperature to 400 degrees. And for this time, we're going to try out 26 minutes. Because as you see up here on the top, there is no reason to preheat with this model. So far, I haven't had to. But this is a quick start guide on just getting you the basics on what to cook and what to expect. Now, as you see on the bottom row there, all those temperatures and times go a little bit longer. So if you're using both zones, it's splitting a little bit of the electricity between both zones. So it's going to take a little bit longer. That's one thing that makes this machine a little bit quirky, especially when you're trying to cook two identical steaks, top and bottom. And I have noticed that it's been a little bit tricky to figure this out. So this is why mainly when I come home, I use the top one instead of the bottom. That way I don't have to worry about this type of issue, because I tend to either overcook or undercook the steak. So we're going to get this air fryer set up to 400 degrees and 26 minutes and get our steaks in the air fryer. Voila. But right now we're about halfway through the cooking process on the air fryer. I did want to get over here and just take a quick look and see what everything looks like. And so far we're looking pretty good on the top rack. That's the one with the smoked salt. That's the one with the garlic salt. We're just going to let those keep on running and see how they turn out when they're done. I am always excited when steaks are getting ready to come out, especially when the house smells this good. And we're there, like boom. All right, let's get the top rack out. Now, wow, look at that. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, this is the one with the smoked salt. Oh, listen to that. That sounds beautiful too. Now this is the one with the regular Redmonds real salt. Now if you guys are going to get into the world of cooking with steaks, like a lot, go out to Costco and buy, they got like a 5-pack of these tongs right here. Super inexpensive, and you're going to go through a lot of them. So definitely go out and get yourself some tongs, like plenty of them, because they're super helpful, they're super handy, and I've needed them just about every single day. The hardest part now is to sit and wait for about 10 minutes until these things are done cooling off a little bit, because you don't want to cut into them right away. As you see already, a lot of the juices are starting to do their thing on both of them. So we're just going to give them a little bit, and then we're going to come right back and we're going to test each one of these and see which one I like best. So the one over here has the smoked salt. The one over here has the garlic salt. Now, I forgot to mention, I do like a little bit of cayenne pepper, so I did add a little shake of cayenne pepper to each one of these. I do that for my own personal reason because it helps with some of the gut issues I have. Okay, guys, it's been approximately 10 minutes. I'm going to try each one of these and tell you what I think. So these were both put in the air fryer. I cooked them at 400 degrees for 26 minutes in the Ninja Double Stack air fryer, which does make a difference. Air fryers specifics make a difference. This is the one with the Redmonds real salt. Garlic salt, bomb. Wow. First bite is amazing. Now again, this is why I like a flat knife, because you can just cut right through. Okay. Slightly overcooked. Like I said, I haven't gotten it dialed in yet with the settings on that particular air fryer. Now this piece right here is the same piece I cut off the other one. It's very tip, and it's got a lot of char. Doesn't smell like smoky salt flavor, but yeah, that's good. The smoked salt is very nice. Now again, this is why I like using a knife that's really sharp and it's got a straight edge, because when you're cutting steak, you're not trying to tear through the steak, you're just trying to cut it. We're going to give you a cross section of this. You should just be able to put your knife in, support it a little bit with a fork, and it should glide right through, just like that. And there we go. That doesn't look too bad. It is cooked a little bit more than I usually like, but it's still steak, it's still edible. Now, if I were cooking for my family, this would be exactly the cook time I'd want to use, because they don't like super bloody steaks. And I have a cat over here that's begging for some fat trimmings. But let's try a bite of this in here and see how that is. Okay, this piece over here I want to show you as an example of what I was talking about in the very beginning, because it's important to try to make the fat edible, especially when you're doing the carnivore diet. So I put all those little scores down the edges here, and that allows the salt to get in there. That also allows the heat to get in there, and it makes this little end piece of fat, as you can see here, it just pulls off super easily. It makes it crunchy, delicious. Oh yes, finger licking good, edible. The other piece is the same way. It just makes it yummy, delicious, and crunchy. Because some of the problems that I ran into in the past with inexpensive types of steak was the fat didn't get cooked all the way through. I'd have some that was like pink and rubbery and really hard to eat. Sometimes there's a random connective tissue that's in these steaks, and just a little slit gets you right in the zone, and you can eat 100% of this and you're not throwing any of it away or feeding it to the dog because you can't chew it. Somebody got so offended because I fed my cat fat on the fork that I'm eating with. I kind of feel sorry for those people. I can't make up my mind which one of these is better. I think they're equally great. So here's that big giant fat chunk that I was talking about. And I put scores all the way down into it to hopefully make all of it edible. And it looks like I did a pretty good job. It's all cooked through. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Which one would you consider the most? Garlic salt or the smoked salt? Now, I'm a little bit on the fence about the smoked salt. It doesn't really carry that smoky flavor like I was hoping, but it's still a really, really good salt. And then the garlic salt definitely gives it a little bit of garlic flavor. I like that about that. So, all right, guys.
hope to see you guys in the next one.